Hi, my name is Fred Hunt, and I'm the active past president of SPBA, which is the Society of Professional Benefit Administrators, which is the National Association of Third-Party Administrators and some of the leading stop-loss service partners. Our current president, Ann Lennon, is also with us today, but she has technological skills, so she's on the back side of the camera right now, and she is literally making this possible. My other job, while she's a technician, I'm the amateur historian of SPBA, and Ann had asked me to explain why the 50th anniversary of Boone Chapman truly is a historic event. Because, you know, 50 years ago, there was no concept of TPA, and the word TPA did not even exist. And when I came to SPBA 31 years ago, TPA was 99% Taft-Hartley collective bargaining plans and 99% pension. You know, health was just some little simple thing on the side. So today, the clientele of Boone Chapman is the dominant style of TPA around the country. And in fact, over half of all U.S. workers in non-federal plans with coverage are in plans administered by TPAs of the format which Boone Chapman was a pioneer. So I mean, this is an amazing story. You know, Boone Chapman has also not only taken a concept that was an embryo. They didn't just buy into something that was a new idea. It was an embryo, and they grew it. But they have also been very generous with their leadership in the whole industry and with SPBA. You know, TJ Chapman was on the board of SPBA, and I wrote down a couple of things that were issues that he had to help lead us on. There were little things like COBRA, and reserve limits, and MEWAs, and Medicare secondary payor, ADA, Quadro, Quamsco, and the rest of a whole alphabet soup of laws and regulations. So if you don't like any of those, blame TJ. Now, a little bit later, Kevin Chapman became chairman of SPBA, and so he inherited such things and had to make some hard leadership decisions on HSAs, PPOs, lots of new military benefits that were coming along as we had gotten into some of the wars, the triple whammy of HIPAA, DOL claims regs, and we started to wonder about this new trend of medical cost inflation skyrocketing. Who knew? Kevin, you didn't solve that issue, unfortunately. You know, I have to tell you that my favorite quote that I still use about Kevin is one time he was leading a session at an SPBA meeting, and it was after lunch, people were thinking siesta time and all that, and in his quiet manner he came to the microphone and he said, "Last night when I was lying in bed here in the hotel," pause. Well, actually what he was saying is that he was reading some contracts to make sure that they were okay, and his point was, and he had found something that was a little hidden nugget in there that would have been a real problem later on. But nobody likes to read old contracts, but he did, and that was the point. But he got everyone's attention to that point by saying that he was lying in bed in the hotel. You know, we also have an ongoing, almost daily, interaction with a dozen or more of the key staff of Boone Chapman, and we really appreciate it. We pick their brains, we ask for real-world advice, and it's that kind of advice that has really given SPBA a tremendous advantage interacting with the government regulators, because we get respect and we're actually able to change and improve some things, believe it or not, because we say, you know, it won't work because, and that kind of because comes from people at Boone Chapman and all. So all of us at SPBA congratulate Boone Chapman on this amazing and historic achievement of 50 years in the business. I think you're the oldest. And thank you for all you've done from all of us here.